Alrighty, so today we are going to do an example of how to generate a chemical formula understanding what we know about atoms and their valence electrons. Okay, so the example up here says lithium and sulfur combine to form a compound. What is the chemical formula for this compound? There's a few things that we have to think about. How many valence electrons does each atom have, which we've talked about in class. They are the electrons that occupy the outermost energy level. And then what are the Lewis dot diagrams of each atom, because that'll help us form the overall compound for this chemical formula that we're generating. Okay, so all of you should have a periodic table in front of you if you're trying to do this on your own. I have mine right here. So let's go over here. It says lithium and sulfur combine to form a compound. Okay, so I have to first figure out, well, what is the chemical symbols for both lithium and sulfur? Okay, if I go over to my periodic table, I'm searching around and I see that right here, lithium, okay, Li, the chemical symbol is Li. So that tells me that lithium is going to have the symbol of Li. And I'm just going to draw that right here. Okay, if my letters are kind of off, it's hard to draw, but we'll make it work. Okay, so lithium here, and then I have to go back to my periodic table and look at where is sulfur found. Okay, I see over here sulfur right here is S. So I'm going to go back to my other screen and write down S. Okay, now hopefully you guys won't have the switching situation because you all will have your periodic tables in front of you. Okay, so I see sulfur is here. Okay, so now I have both my chemical symbols drawn out, and now I have to figure out how many valence electrons do they have. I look back at my periodic table and I see that lithium is in group 1. So lithium has 1 valence electron. Okay, that's our little trick. Since it's in group 1, it has 1 valence electron. Now if I go over to sulfur, talking about groups again, remember groups are the columns. Okay, sulfur is in group 16. So if we use our little trick, 16 group, it has 6 valence electrons. So lithium has 1, sulfur has 6. So over here I've already made little valence electrons for us so that way we can make this go a little bit easier. So lithium has 1 and sulfur, sulfur actually only has 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you can place these electrons anywhere, but I like leaving the spot closest to the other atom open. Okay. Now lithium has 1 valence electron, and because of our understanding of valence electrons, we know that lithium is willing to donate or give up 1 electron to sulfur to satisfy the octet rule, because we know that sulfur wants to have 8 valence electrons total. So if lithium gives up 1 valence electron to sulfur, now lithium has 7 valence electrons, but it is still not happy yet. It wants to have a total of 8. So lithium says, okay, I'll recruit one of my buddies to give you, lithium, another valence electron. Okay, so lithium's over here. It comes in with another valence electron ready to go and says, hey, sulfur, I'll help you out because I can satisfy your octet. So lithium comes over here and gives up another valence electron. Okay, so now there's 2 lithiums here. And with those 2 valence electrons, sulfur will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we look here, lithium gives up this one to sulfur and this one to sulfur. So now lithium has a total of 8 valence electrons. I don't know why those arrows are over there, but we understand that there's now 8 valence electrons. So my chemical formula, because back to our actual question, what is the chemical formula? Since it took 2 lithiums to satisfy sulfur, okay, that tells us that our chemical formula should be Li, okay, and then number 2, the subscript 2. And since there's only one sulfur here, sulfur is just by itself. Because remember, we've talked about this. Since sulfur doesn't have any number here, we know there's at least one. So now, understanding Lewis dot diagrams and valence electrons, we just created the chemical formula for when lithium and sulfur combine to form a compound.